Okay.
Terrific, thank you.
Watch lead nav.
Yeah,
Go
nav.
ahead, video.
Starfish.
Watch lead, how important is it that we reach our dive end waypoint, or is it okay to just continue up the slope wherever we end up?
It's okay to continue where we end up. Continue up the slope where you are. That's fine.
Great.
So I have a question. So how come if most of these guys have pentagonal symmetry,
I knew you were going to
why
ask
does
me
this one
that.
have
I knew
six
you were going
arms?
to ask me that.
Just like
And
a
I have
four-leaf
to
clover?
Go back because let me see. Casey sent me something earlier today, and here it is, right here. My
Okay.
summary later.
And she's
Someone on Twitter grabbed this 6-rayed star, possibly Rhipidaster
I
species
remember
of
that one.
Solisterid. Yep.
That's
Oh,
a
wow.
fly
It's
reef.
never been seen alive before.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so this,
and
well,
now
this,
I
is, this was
got
from
two
our.
of them.
This was actually from our dive this morning. So that I'm pretty sure.
Now we
somebody
have
on
two of
Twitter
them.
grabbed
Type
this.
that name in.
Say that again.
Could you type the name in if we're reading?
I will. I will.
I think that's Chris Ma who said this.
Oh, it
that right?
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. It's
Our star man.
our starman.
Pulling out.
RHIP.
Well, he must be watching and going, ooh, ah. At least I hope so. Although he's from the Smithsonian, so it's pretty late there.
Hey, groupers.
Ooh, grouper. I said gooper. Grouper.
It's that gnarly thing, top left, down left center.
Pilot, co-pilot, I think I'm going to call the bridge and tell them they can make that turn to
Oh,
port.
there's one of
That's
those
gonna set us
stalked
up better for
crinoids
recovery.
with lots of Siri, and it's actually using some of the upper ones
It
on
looks
its
like maybe
stalk
like
to hang
kind of
on.
Bridge, ROV
Yeah,
nav.
hang.
Yeah.
So
You
that
can go
Wow,
ahead
that
and
looks
make
like
turn.
the Siri of a dead
It
crinoid.
sure does. Unless it's bent down and underneath, but I don't think so.
I think it's broken off right there. It's
Yeah.
just
oh yeah,
so
sure.
sharp.
It definitely is.
And yet the Siri
Yeah, that sounds
are
great.
hanging
That
on
looks like it'll be better for recovery
in
as
a
well.
death grip.
Remember what Chris was telling us yesterday? That sometimes
that?
when the arms of the sea stars are autotomized, when they break
Yeah.
off, that they can live for quite a while. And
Oh,
yeah,
right.
Remember he was telling us.
Or down below.
Mm-hmm.
6M.
You see some barnacles.
Yeah, but
Nice. Oh, you know what that sponge is? Oh, I know what that sponge is. Spongoceroides. I'll write
that
it
is
down.
a weirdo. It's got little protrusions
Yeah,
from
that's
its
one we
surface.
collected that the other day. It has vermeted gastropods and it's Spongoceroides siliquaria. So I've never been reported. The genus has not been reported from the Pacific at all. So we have a sample of this that we collected the other day.
This is the one that lives in symbiosis with.
Yep.
Oh,
the vermeted
okay.
gastropods. Yep. SPODEM.
That
The
is
one
so
collected
weird.
earlier in this depth range also, Shirley?
Yes, I
Yeah.
think so.
Hello, Chris Ma here.
We knew you would show up.
Hi,
Hello,
Chris.
Chris.
Of course.
So wonderful, huh? We got two.
Okay, talk to us.
Well, so the starfish you're looking at, if this is the same one as the one you saw before, I think this is a fairly rarely seen philasterid called Rhipidaster, which was seen by Sladen back in the 19th century. It may also be something similar looking called Nepantia, but the plate patterns, based on what I've seen, don't suggest that. So the ones that I've seen in specimens usually only have 8 rays rather than 6. So it could be new, or it could be something very similar that I'm just not seeing because I don't have the specimen in my hand under a scope. But that said, it's whatever it is, the things that it most resembles have not been seen alive. So, and I would put money on it being Rhipidaster, and so and that's never, to my knowledge, been visualized crawling around on the bottom. So to me, this is pretty terrific observation.
Well-
There's a whole bunch of things that I've been watching tonight that I could comment on as well now that I'm here. But I can address your first question about, about 6 rays?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So basically, why do they have 6 when most of them have 5?
Yep.
So here's the thing. So if it's
Octopus,
normal for them
lower
to have
left
6
corner.
rays, because some sea stars normally have
And
more
lower
than
center,
5,
left
what
lasers.
happens is the juveniles
Above lasers.
have 5 when they settle out,
Left
when they're
lasers.
transforming from the
Got it.
swimming larva to the bottom form. Those initially have 5, and then for whatever reason, additional rays called supernumerary rays are added in addition to that. So sometimes this is part of the adaptation of the animal to the way it lives. So persyngids, for example, have multiple rays. They can have up to like 20 rays, and so you have a lot of them that are added. Sometimes you only have 1 or maybe 3 or 4 extra, and the number can vary.
Starfish again.
And some of those tend to be predatory. So
There's that sea star again. Okay,
on other sea stars, and so
Chris, hang on a second. You're going to be really excited. Wait
There's-
until it shows up on your screen.
Coronaster.
Yep.
Coronaster alert.
What was that?
A coronaster.
Oh, really? Is there one There's one coming up?
Yes. Wait for it. Wait for it.
I'm sorry?
I said wait for it.
Yeah, so continue. Please continue.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, so it really does depend. Oh, there we go. So it really kind of depends on which. Oh, wow, that's a nice one.
Yeah, tell us about it.
On
can't
sort of
get
which
closer,
one. Now,
right?
it
That's
could be
down
that the
south.
animal has
get closer.
more arms or has unusual numbers of arms owing to damage or yeah. So this is coronaster. It's very
video's
nice. And it
clear.
has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7.
He's trying to
So
count
around
those.
9 arms, let's say. I can't quite make out the disc, but again, this is fascinating because look at how it's kind of tucked into the corner.
Absolutely.
It was all the other ones that I've seen are doing that. Have done that too,
Right.
and so hypothesis. What if all of these pedicularia function to protect it from all those nasty fish? And
Right.
all of those little claws and spines are sticking out at different angles, and that's what keeps them away. Fish are thought to be an important factor in sort of the distribution of a lot of invertebrates. So it's interesting. I noticed also, for example, back in that field, remember when we were looking at all of the crinoids? One of the interesting things I noticed was that there is a big pile next to the eel of all of the sideroid spines. It was like a big pit. So I wasn't sure if that were put there because of current, because maybe they died and the currents got put there, or maybe the eel was feeding on the spines. I mean, they feed on the urchins, and they just put all the spines there, like a crab garden. So the sideroids feed on those isocrinid crinoids. Most people don't realize that, but they actually, there's a lot of crinoid, there's a lot of urchin on crinoid
10 minutes left
action
on the
going on down there, and sideroids feed on or have been recorded feeding on isocrinid crinoids. So,
Look at all those large
if
shells right next to lasers.
the urchins are being limited
Go
by
ahead.
fish predators, then maybe that's why all the crinoids, which have significant appeal, are so numerous in addition to the focus thing. So there's a lot of interesting things that might be at play, and they might not be sort of really big factors, but they're interesting, things that I've been observing as you've been going along tonight. And I also noted one other question earlier on in the dive where you
Thank
asked
you,
about
Rich.
the barnacles on the spines of sea urchins.
Yep.
So, yeah, sorry. Feel free to interject if you have a question. Sideroids, of course, don't have skin on their spines, And so that's why you can have epizoites settling on those spines rather than, like other
You can tilt your camera up, Don.
which
Okay.
don't have things growing on the spine. And
That's good.
why do certain animals seem to prefer or preferentially settle on the spine? Different sideroids have different epizoons. But, for example, in the Antarctic, one of the things that they've observed is that sideroids can actually function as a method of distribution. They can actually, have a whole bunch of bryozoans and worm tubes and barnacles, and they carry them into places
Starfish, white,
where
right.
there were
Breaks in
not
here.
previously inhabited by those epizoants, and then those epizoants spawn, and they serve
Starfish
as
versus
vectors
starfish.
for
There's left and right.
for populations of these
Diagonal.
encrusting animals. And and they don't strike you as
Come on up.
particularly fast animals,
Come on,
but
out.
Just another one.
turtle gets to where it's going to go eventually. So and
That
Puritans
goes
are the same way,
W6.
assuming they're they're mobile. But of course, different species do different things. There's a lot about these we don't know. We're having problems just identifying them at this point because
Yeah,
a lot
come
of
on in.
taxonomy of these sideroids is based on pencilaria, which makes them somewhat difficult to pin down from pictures. So lots of interesting things today, even though I haven't necessarily
So
phoned
it
to
looks
chime
like
in.
you're clear to come down a
Yep,
bit if
we
you
just
want
saw,
to.
right on this dive. Now we're
roger
seeing
that.
our third one. Yeah, yep, another. This is the third one on this dive.
And someone has bitten off a part of one of those arms. It also has a big lump on the arm closest to us.
Are you yet to zoom in on it?
Yeah, can we get to?
It's coming, Chris. Can I just interject here for a second? Before we leave, it looks like there's some unbranched stalks here that may be something different, white, with looks like large polyps. If we can get a look after we're done with the sea stars, thanks.
Okay, so can we zoom in on this sea star, please?
I'd have to get
one of the
closer.
arm tips
Come on out, video.
So, that could be one of the fish
the-
or something else.
Yeah, the long,
Anyway,
thin thing on the top of the boulder above the sea star.
To talk about echinoderm.
Yep, and unfortunately, we're coming to pretty close to the end of this dive. We have about 5 minutes left, so we're going to go ahead and zoom in on this Rhipidaster, and then it looks like there's some unbranched coral.
Near the
I think
fish?
just, yeah, near the fish that we wanted to
Come on
take a
in,
look
video.
at as well.
Thanks again. Have a great night and have a good, evening for you.
Yeah,
Oh,
thanks,
thank you,
thanks
Chris.
very much, Chris. Thanks for calling in.
Just as a note, that unbranched one is past the sea star, and it was just where that fish went down behind the rock. It was just in front of that. There was one of them there.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got that. Oh, thank you, pilot. I wonder if we could have a look at the coral that's just above. Thank you. There we go.
Go ahead in.
Yeah, that's it.
There we go.
And a zoom. And when you're in position to zoom,
Yep,
yeah,
there we go.
it's got polyps that are open. So what do you think, Chris?
No, ask Scott. He wanted to look at this.
Okay, Scott, what do you think, Scott?
I think this may be the parasis that we were seeing before, but we're either
Oh.
seeing it on edge or it just hasn't branched yet, or much.
Oh, I see.
Thank you. That's good for me.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you, pilot. That's great.
Go on up.
Okay, let's see. Is Mary Jo? Mary Jo, are you still on the line?
Yep, up here.
Okay, I wonder if you could give us a little bit of a wrap-up of what we've seen today geologically.
Sure. So, just to close this dive, we were hoping to see some relatively young lavas, we got to the bottom, and we have seen some consolidated ash, maybe some pyroclastic or volcanic plastic deposits today. I think that we've seen 3 distinct lithologies. Towards the bottom of the slope, we were what looks to be the oldest or the bulk of the edifice, what composes the bulk of the edifice is dark gray or black consolidated ash layer. This is overlain by a tan or a light yellow ash layer that looks like has sort of outcropping texture very similar to a collapsing pyroclastic column. So that there's a sort of a hot ash flow coming down the side of the volcano here. That looks like the youngest thing. And once we came up and over this scarp edge, we see a very coarse-grained, cobbly or rubbly volcanic plastic deposit. And it's broken in very large blocks. It looks like maybe it's bumping away from the scarp wall and has tumbled down the deeper depths, perhaps. And those are really, I think, the 3 main blocks.
Get this guy real quick. Have we seen this section?
3 main block types that we've seen today. We got 3 samples of them. And we might have gotten one of each, or maybe we have 2 of the dark gray ash, consolidated ash layers, and one of that light yellow tan ash layer that looks a little bit younger.
Sorry,
Thank you so much, Mary Jo. That's great. And we're just about at the end of this dive, brought to you from the Okeanos Explorer.
Maybe
and
1 or 2 more targets, pilot, and we gotta head on.
We are here on the supply reef, which is a volcanic seamount beneath the surface. Hasn't breached the surface yet. On the volcanic arc of the Mariana system, this is the Okeanos Explorer is the deep water exploration vessel that is being used for exploration of the Mariana
we want to have a
Trench
camera on.
National Marine Monument.
Use this guy. And
the dive call for discussion of tomorrow's dive will be right after we end this dive and begin to bring the ROV to the surface. So folks on the line, if you would stay put,
the starboard valve pack.
We'll be talking to you about tomorrow's dive
in just a few minutes.
The dive afterward.
Right, just as soon as the ROV leaves the bottom, we're going to begin our dive planning call.
And that will be Chamorro Seamount and Ifuku Seamount.
And thanks to everyone who's joined us on this expedition today, both our science team as well as those of you at home who have been participating. We really appreciate your interest and your expertise and your participation. And for those of you who are calling, joining us from home, our citizen scientists, we hope to have you see us again tomorrow.
Side's the opposite. You got to go to the left and then stuff. Zoom in here, Roland.
Are the uppers stowed as well?
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yep.
Okay,
lowers are stowed.
Perfect. We should probably be getting going here.
All right, so I am facing the correct direction. So looking at the turns count, we need to figure out which way you need to turn to get rid of that half turn. And it's clockwise is positive, counterclockwise is negative.
So I need to go, you're right, I need to go to my left to turn to port.
Yes.
Correct. So the heading we're roughly going to be on is to the east, though, no? For the recovery.
Yes, the ship will be heading at 90. We'll be streaming straight back, and the ship movement will actually be about 135 over ground when you consider the currents.
Okay, I'm going to come up a little bit on the cable here and swing to port.
And pilot, should I hold off on the 15-minute call out until we're streaming?
No, I mean, you can call it when you think we're 15 minutes from being at 50 meters. Whenever that is.
Well, we have a pretty quick ascent.
You're on the other camera, Don.
Oops.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But you're good. You can just keep turning.
All right.
Where are we now? 290? Yeah, we only have about 8 minutes of wiring in.
Oh, okay. I thought we were done. Okay. All right.
We are leaving the bottom right now. So that'll be, let's call it 16:18 local.
Okay, we're leaving the bottom at 4:18
right.
p.m.
So I'm going to push up and push out. You can start to see my tether. I can start to see you in my aft camera.
Roger. Yeah, I see that. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to push forward and...
Bridge ROV now. Hey, we're just leaving the bottom now, and we're ready for that 15-minute call out. Would like you to hold off on getting set up for recovery, though, until we get a little further from the bottom. We are very shallow here.
Roland, were you talking to me?
Yes, I was saying if you guys want to say your final goodbyes, indicating we're off bottom, I'll...
Yep, I just said we're off bottom. I think we can,
I think
we can
we'd
do
like
that.
to,
We can switch over now to the line so we can do our planning call.
Okay, stream 3 is planning the map.
Thank you.
Okay, pilot. $280 meters.
Hey, I'm strung out. Starting to come up.
I'll come up with you.